I've got Warren Redlich again because you guys kept saying how much you like him. So did an interview with him the other day. We talked about Cybertruck and we talked about how Cybertruck is going to kill it in every single segment. We talked about which Cybertruck should come out first. Should it be the top of the line, the class 4? Which Cybertruck first? We talked about what the pricing might be. We talked about what anyway, it's a great video. If you like having Warren on, please let me know by hitting the like button. And then you could obviously subscribe and then hit notify, because we have a lot of great shows coming up with more with Warren this week as well. So let me know what you think and hit Patreon for both Warren and me. Let's get right into the Cybertruck story. I know you had Brian Wang on the other day. By the way, if you haven't bought the book yet, Brian Wang is one of the contributors to the Elon Musk mission. He says Cybertruck will dominate every market for pickups. I don't think anybody's recognizing that. I think Brian is way ahead on this. Some people are saying it's just a drive it in Beverly Hills and show off to your friend's car vehicle. Some people are saying that the guys in Texas won't want it for the ranch. Not like there's that many ranchers left, but but then he introduces this whole idea of the.
You mean like the F-750 or the
right.
F-550 or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
And so those are, I guess, what he considers to be the three categories. So there are people that drive a pickup truck because they want a pickup truck. They're never going to use it for anything remotely necessary for a pickup truck. And then there's the folks that it's a work truck. And then there's the folks that need these really heavy.
You see the guy towing the big RV or the big boat,
right?
Or the big trailer. I was at a supercharger in, I think, Vero Beach or Sebastian, and I was stopped and I was charging, and this guy drove by. He had a big, I want to say it was a big Dodge Ram pickup, and he had a huge heavy duty trailer behind him with some heavy duty equipment, and he was asking me about it, and I told him about Cybertruck was coming.
Yeah.
And how it's, the energy cost is much lower. And, that guy's burning a lot of diesel.
Yeah.
Right. The guys who are driving the biggest trucks are going to see the biggest cost savings from going electric.
Yeah. The word that was escaping me a couple of seconds ago is class 4. So the class 4 trucks, he's saying it would be a runaway that he even thinks that the class 4 should be the one that maybe is introduced first, because it would be expensive, but that it would also be a halo vehicle. It would just show the world that what its capacity was, what its cost of operation was, how quick it is. Everything would be included in that class 4 version.
Just really quick, for those who don't know, Semi is class 8.
Right.
Tesla Semi is class 8, and there's classes, along the way up. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you thought, I know you're a huge Cybertruck fan. Have you thought anything at all about the various markets, or why people would or wouldn't?
I think the market for class 4 is very small. And I think Cybertruck's going to be a very high volume truck. I think the first truck will be capable of towing. It might be capable of towing 13,000 pounds. I don't know if it'll be 15 or 20,000 pounds, but it should be. They advertise it as 13,000 pounds. And honestly, like I can tow. I'm rated to tow like 5,000 on my Model X, but I've seen even Model 3s towing much larger payloads. It's not, you just need the structure of the vehicle to be right. An electric vehicle can just tow a lot.
Right.
So I don't think that's going to be the primary use case for most buyers of Cybertruck.
Oh, no, not at all. No.
So it'll be interesting to see, but I do think that the logic is pretty compelling, that nobody else so far has demonstrated a pickup that will be close to what we think the feature set will be of Cybertruck. Now, I will say, let's just talk about what I think is going to happen with the first Cybertruck. I did some math. I know people hate math. My Model X gets about 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Okay. My Model X is narrower and shorter than the Cybertruck is supposed to be. And my guess is about the same weight. Sometimes I think Cybertruck will be lighter because of the steel exoskeleton construction and everything. A lot of people think Cybertruck's going to be heavier, but call it about the same weight. Because it's wider, because it's taller, and it's less, the coefficient of drag is worse. Unquestionably, the coefficient of drag on Cybertruck will be worse than the Model X. The Model X is like 0.24. At best, Cybertruck's going to be a 0.30, and some say 0.36 or even 0.39. So it's going to be less efficient on the highway by far. And you can get some gains with 1,000-volt architecture on the powertrain and 48-volt architecture on the electronics, and you can get some gains by disengaging the torquey motors when you're at highway speed. You can get some gains, but you're not going to get more than maybe 5, in your dreams 10% gain in efficiency. But you're losing so much from the width and the height and the coefficient of drag that optimistically they'll get 3 miles a kilowatt hour.
Okay.
To get 3 miles a kilowatt hour, you need a 167 kilowatt hour pack to get a 500-mile range vehicle. Now, I normally don't trust. I talked to so-and-so at Investor Day, and he told me the battery pack is this size, right? There's a lot of people saying they went to Investor Day and they told me this, blah, blah, blah. But the one guy I spoke with, I know really well, spoke with someone who is really, really well placed to know what's going to be going on with Cybertruck, and said it's a 140 kilowatt hour pack. If it's a 140 kilowatt hour pack and it's 3 miles per kilowatt hour range, it's a 420 mile range pickup. So I think the 500 mile range Cybertruck that they talked about is in the same place as the advanced 4680 cell.
I see.
We're not going to see the 500 mile range Cybertruck until 2025 or 2026. In 2023, towards the end of the year, early next year, we're going to see a 400 plus mile range Cybertruck. And if you don't want yours, that's fine. Step out of line. I'll take mine sooner.
Exactly.
A 400 mile range Cybertruck is great. I have 330 miles of range now on my X. I have about 300 miles of range left on my Model 3. I'll take 400 all day long.
Right.
And I think when they get the energy density of the cells better, and then the next couple generations of 4680 cells, they'll get to the point where they can squeeze 168 kilowatt hours or 170 kilowatt hours in the same space and mass as what they can currently do 140 kilowatt hours in, and probably lower cost at the same time. So that's my prediction, and I'm not firm on it. My initial gut was they're going to go ahead and stuff 170 kilowatt hours in the pack. But I don't normally trust these sources, but this is, unless the insider at Tesla was, it's not Elon,
right?
But you don't get better than this guy at knowing what's in Cybertruck. And the guy who told me is about as credible a person as I know in the Tesla community. And I heard it from another source too, that is 140 kilowatt hours. So I don't see how you get to 500 miles range, but I don't think you're going to have trouble selling 400 mile range Cybertrucks. I
don't think you'd have any trouble selling a 300 mile Cybertruck initially. I mean, the initial rollout, everybody's going to be just waiting for their day.
But I think that Cybertruck will just sell like insane volume. I think it's, if you drive a pickup and you notice how much it costs you to fill up, because they cost more to fill up than a car, and now you're charging at home for 12 cents a kilowatt hour, and you charge 100 kilowatt hours and it costs you $12. And you go to the gas station and you pay, let's say you're using regular gas and you're paying $4 a gallon for 30 gallons. It's $120 versus $12.
Right.
It doesn't take long to figure out, wait a minute, what am I doing here?
Well, and this has been my argument from day one when people said that the business owner isn't going to buy the truck. I mean, when I make a decision for my finances, I care whether something costs $50 a month more or less. It affects my ability to travel more or less or whatever. But for the consumer is way less interested in that information than the business owner is. Now, the business owner may make a lifestyle choice also. He may buy a big hunkin' Ram, whatever, because he just wants it and doesn't really need it for his business. But he's still making that choice based on the fact that he can afford it in his business based on the finances. But if he's looking at 5 trucks or 10 trucks and he's got guys driving around and picking up loads and dumping off loads and working at the site and needing, I just don't see, it just seems like the TAM would be almost unlimited in the United States, where a pickup is.
Well, if you figure the United States full-size pickup truck market is in the ballpark of 3 million trucks a year.
Right.
It's certainly reasonable to say Cybertruck will sell 1 million a year.
Yeah.
right? I think it could be more than that. But if they sell 1 million, and that leaves out, I'm talking about the United States and Canada together, but
Sure.
I think it's in the ballpark of 3 million a year. There's not really a lot of other big markets outside the US. There's a theory that Cybertruck would sell well in parts of China, which is a big market if it's true. My gut is no. And then there's also this question, what's the price going to be?
Right.
Like if they release the initial Cybertruck and they charge under 80, like let's say they charge $79,000 for the Cybertruck, and you get a $7,500 tax credit, and then you're going to save $200 a month on energy, if not more, maybe $300 or $400 a month on energy. That's like $5,000 a year over 5 years. That's 25 grand. Then, oil changes might be more in a pickup. Probably have to use more oil. You add up all the things that you're saving money on. It doesn't take the business pickup truck owners long to figure out, hey, this is a good move.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Ryan was a little bit conservative compared to me with regard to the ramp. How do you see the ramp? I know none of us have a clue. Even Tesla doesn't have a clue until they start doing it. But based on what we've seen, several ramps now at Tesla and at other companies as well. What's your take? What do you think?
Well, the volume will be low this year.
Low
very limited, low thousands. Maybe 10 or 20,000 if it's great, but 5,000 would be amazing. It just depends on when they start delivering, as well. Yeah. There are some things about the ramp that should be better. There's no paint shop.
Yeah.
I think that they're obviously gotten a lot better at modeling out with simulation software how they're going to set up their factories.
Right.
Than they were when they ramped Model 3 and when they ramped Model Y in Fremont, let's say. They pretty clearly got ramping down in Shanghai, right? And I think that the limitation on ramp in Berlin and Texas, I don't know, it seems like Berlin is ramping pretty fast now.
Yeah.
So, by middle of 2024, they should be at 5,000 units a week.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And that would average out to 250,000 units next year. That may be overly optimistic. Maybe it's not quite that fast, but I think there's a shot that they deliver 250,000 in 2024, 100,000, at the low end, 300,000 or more at the high end. There's also an open question. How many are they planning to build?
Yeah, I know.
Are they planning to build a second Cybertruck factory somewhere else? Are they just going to build more Cybertrucks there? The footprint for Cybertruck is going to be smaller than the footprint for Model Y because there's no paint shop.
Right.
And there are probably some other efficiencies. And then I actually think the biggest question is, what will Cybertruck weigh? Because the Rivian R1T and the Ford F-150 Lightning both weigh about 7,000 pounds. I've been stuck with this prediction for a long time. I think Cybertruck ends up weighing under 5,000 pounds, which is less than my Model X.
Wow.
The steel, I estimated, and I think pretty well, the weight of the steel exoskeleton at about 700 pounds. 3 millimeter stainless steel. I measured the dimensions. I think the dimensions are actually a little bit smaller now, but it's in the ballpark of 700 pounds for that exoskeleton. Yeah. So then you've got the hardware underneath. It looks like there's going to be at least one single piece casting. One large casting. The crash test showed some pretty heavy duty hardware underneath the front wheels. Elon had said the target was the same dimensions as the Ford F-150, and the F-150 he was talking about, I'm pretty sure, weighed 4,600 pounds. So, the 140 kilowatt hour pack, that weighs something. But when I did the math, I'm trying to remember what I had for the pack size when I did that calculation. But I think there's a shot of them bringing in under 5,000 pounds, or at least under the 5,300 pounds of the Model X.
I got it.
And then you think, okay, wait a minute. You compare that cost to the cost of the Rivian and the R1T and the F-150 Lightning. Well, if it's 5/7 the weight, then it's probably about 5/7 the cost, plus Tesla has better cost efficiencies in how they manufacture, and there's no paint shop, which is a big cost component of the vehicle.
Huge.
So I think it's not going to be hard to bring it in under 80 grand. Now, with the first run of tri-motor Cybertrucks, did they say, oh, heck with it, we're going to charge 100 for this one? We got a bunch of suckers like Warren who will pay it.
Yeah, at least for the first few months.
I'll say this: if you buy an early Cybertruck, be prepared for you're going to get undercut on price.
Yeah.
Now, demand is going to be nearly infinite for the first year of production.
Just for fans.
What's that?
Just for fans.
Oh, but there's 1.5 million orders out there, and if half of them vanish, right? If 2/3 of them vanish, you still got 500,000 orders, and they're not going to make 500,000 in the first year.
Right.
So I think that they could charge more for it and just say, hey, you're getting screwed on the tax credit. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the way Tesla's been going, they may say, you know what, we want to get these going. We want to get as many out there as possible. And bam, it's like $79,000.
Yeah. Again, I think if we look at their history, I'm guessing they go with the expensive one first because you're in limited production anyway, so you might as well do the expensive one. That's just a guess, but time will tell. But that, I think the rest of it, I think we're pretty. I'm just shocked by your weight figure. That's one I hadn't heard before. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, I get it. It's likely to be lighter than the F-150 Lightning and the Rivian.
Yeah.
Right. I don't remember. I think the F-150 Lightning has a significantly larger pack. The F-150 Lightning looks bigger. Yeah. The F-150 Lightning is basically, we took an F-150 and we stuffed a big battery pack in it. Well, the F-150 was already 4,600 pounds.
Yeah.
And then you had to stick all this extra structure in there to hold this heavy battery pack, and you had to stick the battery pack in there.
Yeah.
You had to stick these motors that so somehow they got to 7,000 pounds. We know Tesla's way more efficient than Ford and Rivian.
Right.
So it should be under 6,000 for sure, but I think they might squeak it under 5,000. If they squeak it under 5,000, that's an engineering marvel.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's the first time I'm hearing this. So that's great. I'll put it into my calculations. Well, it's always great to have Warren on the show, and he did a great job as usual. I really appreciate. Warren is always thinking outside the box. That's the one thing that really makes Warren a strong part of the Tesla community, is he thinks outside the box. So if you like that interview, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We've got some great videos coming up. You just can't believe the stuff I've got coming up with Brian Wang. I've got more with Warren. I've got even coming up with a couple of other guests as well this week. And we'll be heading into earnings. And one of the things we're going to do in earnings is we're going to have a show on Wednesday morning, which is going to be the pregame show. Okay. And then we'll have another show after earnings, which will be, of course, the postgame show. So hope you'll be around for both of those. And, until next time, it's been great talking to you.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.